On today's show, Tiny Pinder amongst the scoring as the Wildcats take on the Falcons. It was bombs away for Melbourne's favourite son, Andrew Gaze. Confusion reigned supreme at the Snake Pit as the Hawks took on the Giants. And in the thriller at the Palace, a repeat of last year's grand final between the Cannons and the Giants.
Gets it up there. And there it goes. It counts.
Good afternoon and welcome to NBL 89. Yes, we have the two leading teams in the NBL on the road this weekend for the first time, the North Melbourne Giants, and they had some problems, I can tell you. No Bullets game this weekend, and so for our Super Player competition, which we'll get to later in the show, the game that we're looking at is Canberra against North Melbourne. By the way, Darren Perry will be fit and he'll be right to play next Tuesday night for the Bullets in their game against the Big Eight. And Glenn, that brings me to our special guest today.
We have two special guests today, Peter. On my left, Dave Claxon, the assistant coach of the Brisbane Bullets, and joining us, the coach of the Big Eight Conference, which take on the Bullets on Tuesday night, Roy Williams. And Roy, firstly, if I could welcome you to today's show, and understand you had a few problems with your luggage.
Well, a few problems, but nothing that we can't hopefully overcome and make sure we enjoy our stay. But we missed practice yesterday, but we're okay.
Roy, you're the coach of the Kansas City University, or the Kansas University in the United States. There's only been 7 coaches appointed in the 91-year history of that university in basketball, so it must be a fairly prestigious position.
It is. You know, I'm the 7th coach in the history, as you say, and we've been playing basketball at the University of Kansas for a long time. It's a school that has probably as much or more tradition than any school in the United States. Won 3 national championships. Danny Manning 2 years ago was College Player of the Year, and it's a great place to be if you like basketball.
Okay, Roy, we'll be looking forward to your comments on the National Basketball League later in the show.
And we'll be giving away 6 double passes to that game, the Bullets against the Big Eight. They're the conference that's in the Midwest of the United States, and of course Kansas is where James Naismith came from, the man who invented the game of basketball. On to week 6 of the NBL, and our first game, Perth against Newcastle. Looking at the record of the two teams, we see that in all time Newcastle have a 10-2 edge, but this year, well, it's Perth 5-1 as against Newcastle's 1-5 record. The top scorers for Perth, well, each week you can see Crawford, Pinder and Bruton have been their leading scorers, and Carl Bruton, no longer the coach of the team, seems to be getting better and better, like a bottle of good wine. Then on the other side, for Newcastle, their main scorers, Everett, Johnson and Bill Jones, who of course came from the 36ers. Let's join the highlights of the game, and we pick it up in the third quarter with commentators Dennis Cometti and Wally Foreman, and it's Newcastle 73-62.
1-5. Newcastle Falcons pull an upset. The first half of their doomsday double. Fenton to Carl Bruton, back to Fenton, 3-point attempt is good. Great start to the second half there. Scotty Fenton nails one from long range, and it's back suddenly to 8.
Interesting lineup out there now too, Dennis. We've gone reasonably small with the 3-guard lineup, and they're obviously going to go from the perimeter.
Jones gets the ball to Johnson. Paul Dennis has got a lot of room, and he didn't miss in the first quarter. He's not going to miss in the third by the look of it.
Don't get too conscious.
There's Mike Ellis.
Stay with your own.
Gets it back from Bruton. Little lob pass. Pinder changed his mind. Bruton 3-point attempt. Another one.
7 points is the margin. Bruton, who had 8 points at halftime, on target early in the third quarter. This is Dennis. Turner gets over the top of Crawford, but Pinder's there to pluck the rebound down for the Wildcats. Ellis trying to go all the way. Another block shot there from Turner, but it comes back to Bruton in turn to Fenton. Cal Bruton. Crawford going across the top to Fenton. Now Ellis with the 3-point attempt. Crawford tips it in. Little Wildcats need to sustain the pressure. They're running the Falcons ragged at the moment. That was a clever pass from Ellis, and Crawford from just outside the free throw line gets them back to within 3 points again.
Nothing there.
Now Sid Stevens is indicating that there's nothing on the floor.
Deliberately, it was an accident.
He's also indicating there was no foul there to Ken Cole.
There's Turner. Suddenly, things coming unglued. Oh, well played by Dennis. And Johnson did well initially too. The clock is down to 12. Turner driving in, makes it with the left hand. That was brilliantly done. They really had some fence mending to do, and they managed to pull it off.
Ellis, Fenton deep on the left, but Pinder is the player they look for. Crawford.
Newcastle have shown enough tonight for us to think that they are right in this game, despite this surge by the Wildcats. Momentum has swung the Wildcats' way. Turnaround jumper is good for Pinder.
The Falcons showing great resilience here. It looked as though they had cracked. Bruton was left outside. And that gets the Wildcats back to within 2 points. We've got 1 minute 53 to play, and that's his third three-pointer for the quarter. 41 seconds left in this third quarter. Ellis. Bruton. Davis. Crawford. Ellis with the three-point attempt. Oh, 98 points apiece.
Now, how will Newcastle play this? They're taking the long bomb and they hit it. Hill. There was 30 seconds when they got possession on the game clock. And they fired it off. So the last play falls to the Wildcats. Well, maybe not. Jones the rebound. It comes to Johnson. So the final play is with Newcastle.
They'll probably look for Johnson, except Ellis read that brilliantly. A three-point attempt from Ellis. And he drops it on the buzzer. At three-quarter time, the ball game is all tied up thanks to Michael Ellis.
So away we go. Tiny Pinder takes it down first. Top scorer in the game, Michael Johnson with 33. Next best, James Crawford with 26. Ellis goes in and makes two to grab the lead for the Wildcats. Good aggressive rebounding by a man with 4 fouls, Tiny Pinder. Driving the boards there. Here's Mike Ellis. He's been very productive. Bruton gets Everett off his feet. Dishes it out to Ellis, who hits from long range. 3.
Ellis. Crawford. Bruton. Ellis with the three-point attempt, and he's hit it again.
And that's Mike Ellis from the 3 corners of the court right now. He's only got to go down to the right-hand side, and he's shot three-pointers from all over.
The Wildcats lead by 7. 2 minutes have elapsed in this final term. This is Jones trying to pull that lead back, and he gets them back, the Falcons back to within 5 points.
Mike Ellis has 28 points to the moment. We've sung the praises of James Crawford in this second half, but Ellis not far behind him. Ellis again for 3. Oh, well, almost. Ken Cole breathes again. Hill feeds Johnson. Everett working the baseline, surrounded. Great move by Everett.
Great move by Everett. He's a great ballpark player. He can play inside, he can play outside, and it appears to me, Dennis, as if the Falcons are spreading the floor, trying to go a little more one-on-one.
Steve Davis, the open man, makes it easily. They gave him that shot. He took it, and he hurt them. So it's out to 5 now. This is the biggest lead the Wildcats have had in this game. Here's Steele. Top of the key, Jones. Hill. Back to Steele. 15 seconds on the shot clock, so plenty of time. Everett in the lane, makes it. And the foul is called against Crawford. He's unhappy. That's his 3rd.
Short on replay. That's exactly how it happened. So, it's a 2-point game. 111 plays 109. The Wildcats just in front. Ellis, Kuiper back on court. We haven't seen much of him since the first half. Bruton. Oh. Great turn of speed, off the mark. Jones under the basket. Feeds it out to Everett. Here's the long outlet pass to Johnson. And this game is all tied up again. 7.5 minutes to play at the Superdrome. The Wildcats, who have shown some of their best form for a couple of seasons in their last 2 outings, could surrender the lead here. They have. 116 to 113.
If you look at the situation now with the Wildcats, Everett is posting up inside. We'll watch it next time down, but that's a terrible turnover there for the Wildcats.
Here's Dennis. The Falcons lead by 3. Dennis from long range, 3-pointer off the rim. Rebounded by Johnson, fall-away jumper. But there's a whistle. And it will be a foul called on number 14, Scott Fenton.
That was a 5th. You got 1 and 1.
Lucky tonight.
Lucky Falcon. The shot drops for Johnson.
1 shot.
This will give them a 5-point lead. They have to be content with a 4-point lead. 117 plays 113, just under 7 minutes left in this game. Bruton with a 3-point attempt. That would have been his 6th had it gone. Very difficult to see what's happening here with Alan Black in front of me, but I suspect James Crawford's shot went in.
Ball count. Front 7 with a push and a shoot 1. Yeah, come in.
Well, he certainly led the way in the third period. So a 3-point play there for James Crawford. And the margin is 1. Just over 6.5 minutes remain. Driving the baseline Hill. The foul will be called against Crawford, and he's paid the continuation. So it's going to be a 3-point play.
Yes, sir.
And a 4-point lead to the Falcons.
At least, John, they got a new clock.
Yep.
Here's Bruton to Pinder, who makes the shot for 2. So it's back to a 2-point game. Pressure showing on Ken Cole. Here's Jones under the basket. Oh, great rejection there. Slapped away. Going over the fence was Crawford. Meantime, Pinder at the other end slams it. Action aplenty all over the court. What a rejection by James Crawford.
Watterson in the backcourt. With him was Hill. Fenton. With him is Johnson. Crawford and Everett. That breaks the deadlock. 5 minutes 14 to play.
Great spring by Crawford, jumping over Everett. A slight height advantage, but great athleticism there. 122 to 120. Johnson from long range. The hot hand may have returned. He made 3. So suddenly Newcastle lead. What a game.
This is Bruton across to Fenton. Good move. Came unstuck as courtesy of Jones. With Dennis. Now Johnson just inside the 3-point line. Comes back to Johnson. Everett over the top of Crawford. Pinder with a rebound.
Well, if ever a team lives by the sword, it's Newcastle. They just take it down and they shoot it. Here's Scott Fenton. The Falcons lead by 1. The star of the second half puts the shot up and makes it. James Crawford wrests the lead back for the Wildcats.
This is Crawford, now Watterson. 1 minute 16 to play. 130 plays 125. The Wildcats in control at the moment. Pinder, another good assist as far as the Wildcats were concerned. It came from Watterson. Now there's 10 seconds on the game clock. This is Watterson. He goes back to Bruton. Dennis wants a double dribble. This is Watterson. Across he goes to Fenton. It's the buzzer as Pinder tips it in. And the Wildcats have held on to win 132 to 129. What an entertaining game.
What a magnificent game, and the Wildcats proving to be pretty well unbeatable at home. And certainly looking at their personnel, Alan Black coach now and Cal Bruton on the court seems to be much better.
Oh, certainly. Cal Bruton's playing the best ball he's played for probably the last 2 seasons, Peter. I think you'd agree with that, Dave.
Yeah, I think so, Glenn. He's really got a licence to shoot the ball now. He hasn't got the coaching pressure, as Peter said. And, he's making those baskets and fitting in pretty well with the team.
Roy, that'd be that little bit of vision we just saw there of Perth and Newcastle would probably be the first 2 Australian NBL teams you've ever seen.
That was it right there. That's my scouting report. So I tell you, they look like good basketball teams.
And you'll be playing both those sides as well. So I guess there's a bloke to watch out for is that James Crawford who played for Perth. He's an exceptional player and he scored 30-odd points in that game.
It looked good there on the tape because he could score from inside and outside, and there were some good outside shooters. We better be ready to play some defense on the 3-point shot or we could be in trouble.
Let's have a quick look at the stats of the game. And you'll see that the Wildcats' big scorers again, James Crawford with 35, Mike Ellis with 28. That's unusual for him, and Tiny Pinder 23. For the Falcons, Michael Johnson 44, Everett 25 and Jones 19.
Peter, interesting to note here that Roy used to coach Tiny Pinder.
Well, I coached at North Carolina when Tiny was a player at North Carolina State, so I didn't actually coach him. Coached against him, I guess is the best way to put it.
And interesting also that Michael Johnson's one of only 3 white Australians, Glenn, who's in the top 25 scorers. There's Cal Bruton. He's in great form at the moment with the Wildcats and basketball booming over there. It brings up the old chestnut of are there too many Americans in the league? But of course they create such a terrific inspiration, and they draw the fans.
Well, that's right. I don't really know what the answer is. I think that eventually we will have more Australians there that are going to be figuring in our top statistics with the NBL. At this stage, of course, the Americans are still the best players in the world, and I think they're probably still giving us the best advice. So I think let it go for a few years and then we'll see what happens.
Right, let's move along, and we'll be shortly seeing the clash after the break of Melbourne against Sydney. That's a real grudge match. But firstly,
the Hungry Jacks National Basketball League is presented by Hungry Jacks in association with Mazda, unrivaled quality, pure pleasure, and Nike Air.
Put your best foot forward, do what you think.